Every room you enter is already a game, a hierarchy. Whether it's an office, a boardroom, a gathering, or even your own home, someone rules, someone serves, and the rest drift in between. And here is the law. If you don't seize your position, it will be seized for you. Presence is not luck. It is not some mystical charisma bestowed at birth. Presence is trained signal, a weapon you sharpen. The people who dominate aren't the loudest, they are the clearest, the coldest, the most controlled. So ask yourself with honesty, how many times have you been overlooked, not because your ideas were weak, but because you were weak in signal? How many times have you walked out knowing your content was sharper, but your presence was invisible? That humiliation ends now. From this moment forward, you reforge weakness into strategy. You will stop radiating need. You will radiate gravity. You will not beg to be noticed. You will force attention to orbit you. Invisibility will never again be your fate. It will never again be your choice. Because every room you enter from this day forward carries one fact, undeniable and immovable. You decide how you are seen, and once you decide, the room obeys. Expand your dominion. When you step into a room, you are not entering a space. You are marching onto a battlefield of perception. And make no mistake. Judgment is instant, merciless, and already underway. The only question is this: will you command the air, or suffocate in it like the powerless? Here's the brutal truth. People don't respond to your resume, your credentials, or your inner genius. They respond to what you project. If your energy collapses inward, you've already declared surrender. You've broadcasted the message, ignore me, I am nothing. So tell me, how many times have you walked into a meeting, a party, or even your own family's table, and vanished? That wasn't bad luck. That was weakness. That was posture. Most people walk in folded like peasants, eyes lowered, shoulders caved, pace hesitant. They believe this is polite, but the room translates it instantly. This person has no weight, no claim, no consequence. Have you ever once seen someone shuffle in apologetically and thought, this must be a leader? Exactly. Only the weak mistake timidity for virtue. Machiavelli knew better. His lesson was cruel and eternal. People obey what they can see. A prince who appears resolute is treated as resolute. A ruler who shows hesitation is torn apart by wolves. Appearances, he wrote, outweigh reality, because perception dictates power. The prince doesn't beg for recognition. He seizes it by commanding the stage with calculated projection, and nothing has changed. When you enter a room today, no one audits your accomplishments. They scan you. In seconds, you're ranked, priced, and placed. Your posture is your opening bid in the marketplace of dominance. Show strength, and others bend toward you. Show doubt, and they will handle you like furniture. This is not interaction, this is auction. The only question, are you valued at a premium or discarded at a discount? So you must weaponize arrival. At the doorway, claim 3 seconds, plant your stance, unlock your shoulders, raise your chin like you own oxygen itself. Inhale slowly, then let your gaze sweep, not twitch, not dart, but sweep, across the room with sovereign calm. Walk in a direct line to your chosen ground. Not the wall, not the corner, your spot. Meet 3 eyes, offer one razor-thin smile, then hold still. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is surplus. The lion rests because it knows it can kill. Then set the rhythm of the room with your breath. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. You don't just breathe, you dictate the tempo of existence. Try this at work. In meetings, you'll notice the weak rearrange themselves around your gravity. Try this at gatherings. The same people who once overlooked you will now orbit you. Even at home, step into your own living room like a sovereign and watch your family unconsciously fall into alignment. Arrival is adjudication. The verdict is swift. So rule first. Do not let them discover who you are. Force them to accept how they must treat you. Internal mastery is not some monkish self-help trick. It is the first weapon of empire. Control your posture, your breath, your projection, and you control the battlefield of perception. And once you control perception, the world itself becomes pliable in your hands.
Hey guys, we're Strategy, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Drop the question, deliver the verdict. Every time you open your mouth, the world isn't listening for information. They're scanning for conviction. They don't care what your idea is. They're asking, does this voice sound like command or like noise? Here's the brutal truth. Content without conviction is charity for your enemies. Tone is the courier of authority. And if your tone begs, your message starves. Think about your own habits. How often do you lace your words with, I think? I could be wrong, but maybe, or sorry. You believe it makes you polite. You believe it softens the blow. Pathetic. No ruler in history ever bent the knee before speaking. No leader was ever obeyed for prefacing every order with an apology. What you're really doing is throwing your own relevance on the pyre, and you felt the sting. You say something that matters. It lands like a suggestion, not a decree. People nod, smile, dismiss, and move on. That pain isn't because your idea was weak. It's because you were weak in delivery. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He warned rulers, it is better to appear firm than to be virtuous. Why? Because no one can see your virtue, but everyone can hear your voice. A prince must not hesitate to drop goodness when the moment demands clarity. Power bows to edges, not intentions. If your delivery wavers, your law is irrelevant. And in your own kingdom, your workplace, your home, your society, the rule is unchanged. Decision makers don't inspect your soul. They audit your signal. They weigh not your intentions, but your presence. Flat endings, calm tempo, deliberate pauses. These are the signals that say, I can bear the weight of consequence. These signals separate the funded from the forgotten, the promoted from the bypassed, the obeyed from the ignored. Picture tomorrow. You walk into a meeting, not, I was thinking maybe we could try this idea, but we're choosing this option. Here's why. Then silence. The atmosphere tilts. Heads turn. Bodies lean in. The air shifts. Not because your content changed, but because your delivery carried weight. Authority isn't knowledge. Authority is projection. Knowledge is ignored when wrapped in weakness, but delivered with conviction, it becomes law. Control your voice, and you control perception. Control perception, and you control people. Seize the center. Command the orbit. Every room has gravity. If you wait for someone to pull you in, you've already admitted your orbit. Inclusion requested is subordination confessed. The moment you wait to be invited, you've volunteered for irrelevance. Think about your own weakness. How many times have you sat in a meeting like a beggar, silently praying someone would turn and say, "What do you think?" You tell yourself that's humility. You pretend it's respect, pathetic. What the room actually sees is doubt, and doubt has no seat at the table. Doubt is filtered out. Machiavelli was merciless on this point. Dependence is death. A prince who owes his throne to others stands with their ladders, not his walls. If your presence requires permission, your power can be revoked at a glance. Power built on invitations is a leash. Power built on initiative is fortress stone. Here's the modern truth. Rooms obey self-starting gravity. This isn't about shouting, interrupting, or stealing the mic. It's about precision. Insert a single wedge, one sharp question, one framing statement, and the center of gravity shifts toward you. Suddenly the orbit is realigned. They're moving around your axis, so seize the center with method, enter with an angle. Prepare one framing question. Are we optimizing for speed or certainty? That alone resets the battlefield. Then drop one decisive statement. Given X, we will do Y by Friday. No pleading, no waiting. You plant the flag, strike on timing. Don't bulldoze, don't hover. Wait for the breath at the end of someone's line, then cut in clean. That's your seam. Precision conquers where noise fails. Then claim a lane. Volunteer to define next steps. Who does what, by when. Don't be fooled. Logistics isn't helpfulness. Logistics is power in disguise. He who assigns the action items controls the agenda. Even your seat is strategy. Never exile yourself to the margins. Never barricade behind a laptop. Take the visible ground, center or strong angle, and keep the space before you clear. A torso unblocked is a chest plate displayed. Visibility is presence. And once you speak, stop. Don't ramble. Don't scramble to justify. Stillness after a statement is not emptiness. Stillness is the exclamation point of authority. Test it tomorrow. At work, in a meeting, at a party when the group flounders on what's next. Even at home when plans float in limbo. Step in with one clear question, one decisive frame. Watch the axis tilt. Watch the orbit bend. Influence is never granted, it is seized. Occupy the center, or be trampled by it. Internal mastery here is the weapon. To steady your breath. To steal your posture. To hold still after you strike. These are not tricks of etiquette. They are the mechanics of rule. When you govern yourself with precision, you bend the room into your orbit. And from that orbit, the world itself becomes yours to command. Anchor in the masses, break the nobles. Every leader faces the same fork in the road. Cling to the elites above, or root yourself in the many below. One path glitters, the other looks plain. But the truth is merciless. The elites want to rule you. The people want only freedom from rule. Align with the masses, not the nobles. Look at your own life. At work, how often do you grovel upward for executive approval while ignoring the very people who keep the machine alive? You grin at the bosses while turning your back on the workers. And what does that make you? Disposable. When the elites cut you loose, and they will, you vanish without a trace. But if the people trust you, no noble's knife can erase you. Machiavelli wrote this law with blood. Princes who lean on nobles are leaning on wolves, predators with teeth bared, scheming for their own gain. But those who anchor their strength in the people stand on the shoulders of thousands. The masses ask for little: protection, stability. Nobles devour you when it profits them. The people defend you by sheer weight of numbers, and the law hasn't changed. In modern organizations, the same rule holds. Waste your energy chasing executives, and you remain a pawn. Earn the trust of the engineers, the operators, the staff, the people who actually keep the wheels turning, and you become untouchable. When the crowd believes in you, you harden into a fortress. Without them, you are a fragile ornament, discarded at whim. So act with strategy. Stop hoarding favor at the top like a court jester begging scraps. Deliver value to the base, remove their obstacles, ease their frustrations, speak their language, make it clear you see them. Because when the crowd believes you stand with them, they will form a human wall between you and the daggers of the elite. Test it. At your company, don't just parade for executives, walk the floor. Talk to the people, find their bottlenecks, and kill them. In your community, don't just charm the so-called influential, earn the trust of the many. Even at home, don't scrape for the praise of one authority figure. Spread respect across the group. The base is the shield. Remember this. The ruler who clings to nobles is chained to ambition he cannot control. The ruler who roots in the people stands unshaken. Internal mastery is the lever here. The humility to resist elite seduction. The discipline to ground yourself in the collective. The foresight to strengthen the broad base before the storm breaks. These are not soft virtues. They are survival. He who wins the people controls the field. He who controls the field dictates the throne. Silence the sycophants. Arm the honest. Every leader faces a hidden threat. Not enemies outside the gates, but flatterers within. And here is the law. Flattery blinds. Honesty equips. Think about it. How many times have you been smothered in praise, doused in approval, lulled by soft agreement, only to be blindsided when reality struck? Surrounding yourself with yes men is political suicide. They echo your desires but erase your vision. They feed your vanity but starve your judgment. A ruler who bathes in flattery prepares his own execution. Machiavelli saw this rot centuries ago. He wrote that flatterers infest every court, buzzing around power like flies to honey. They whisper what you want, not what you need. And the moment you believe them, illusion becomes your palace, and ruin becomes your reality. The wise prince allows truth only through chosen channels, only from tested advisors, only when asked why. Because truth is too valuable to be polluted by every cowardly tongue. The law has not changed. Today, weak leaders drown in fake applause, mistaking noise for loyalty. The strong build structures for truth. They close their ears to the mob and open them only to the few who dare sharpen the blade of honesty. A leader who listens to all becomes confused. A leader who listens to none becomes blind. The balance is ruthless. Select carefully, then listen completely. So act with precision. Identify 2 or 3 advisors who will spit truth, even when it burns. People who say you're wrong without trembling. People who cut through your blind spots with steel. Grant them private access. Listen in silence. Absorb their honesty like a weapon being forged. Then, when the decision is made, deliver it in public with sovereign authority. Test this tomorrow. At work, don't humiliate yourself by asking the crowd, "Does everyone agree?" Instead, ask a single trusted mind in private, "What am I missing?" In your personal life, don't cling to friends who flatter your weakness. Anchor to the one who challenges it. In society, don't hunt validation from the loudest herd. Seek clarity from the sharpest blade. Because here is the danger. Flattery fattens the ego, then starves the mind. And a leader with a starved mind is already a corpse in waiting. Internal mastery is the shield here. The discipline to silence your hunger for praise. The strength to endure the sting of truth. The clarity to control who speaks into your ear. Master these within, and you become unmanipulable from without. For the ruler who sharpens himself with honesty wields judgment as a sword, and that sword carves dominion. Strike early, strike clean. Every leader faces conflict. The weak wait. The strong move first. And here is the law. The longer you delay, the stronger your enemy becomes. Think about your own failures. How many times have you sensed a rival circling, a colleague turning toxic, a problem festering, and told yourself, "I'll deal with it later"? But later never comes clean. By the time you act, the enemy has grown fat with time. Delay is not patience. Delay is cowardice masquerading as patience. Machiavelli carved this truth into history. He praised the Romans because they crushed threats the instant they appeared. They didn't allow enemies to gather allies or sharpen their weapons. They strangled danger in its crib. Those who hesitated, they were devoured. Nothing has changed. In business, politics, and personal life, unresolved tension compounds. The rival you ignore gathers influence while you rationalize your cowardice. The conversation you avoid grows teeth. The resentment you let simmer becomes rebellion. So here is the rule. When you sense betrayal, opposition, or decay, strike first. Strike early. Strike clean. Call the meeting. Confront the enemy. Cut the infection before it spreads. Action is clarity. Delay is rot. Test this law in your world. In the office, don't let a rumor metastasize. Name it and kill it. In business, don't let a competitor swallow your ground. Counter before their roots deepen. Even in your relationships, don't let resentment ferment. Speak it, solve it, or sever it. Remember this: conflict postponed is defeat prepared, and the weapon begins within. The discipline to act without dithering, the courage to face discomfort before it mutates into disaster, the steel to move when others hesitate. Master yourself and you strike not just early, but decisively. Control the timing and you dictate the field. Dictate the field and you own the outcome. Build your dikes before the flood. Fortune is not gentle. It does not knock. It roars in like a swollen river, smashing everything unprepared in its path. And here is the law. Fortune crowns the prepared and devours the idle. Think about the weakness you see every day. How often do people shrug and say, "I'll deal with it when it happens"? That is not patience. That is surrender disguised as patience. By the time the flood arrives, it's too late to stack sandbags. Waiting for luck is weakness, and the weak are drowned. The strong stand dry, untouchable, untouching. Machiavelli saw this truth with surgical clarity. He wrote that fortune may control half of life, but the other half bends to discipline. Bold rulers do not kneel for luck. They seize it, wrestle it, chain it, and force it to serve. The weak pray, the strong prepare. The same is true in your world. Don't hope for opportunity. Engineer resilience. When markets shift, when crises erupt, when the ground tilts beneath everyone else, those who prepared will look prophetic. They aren't lucky. They are armed. So act while calm deceives you. Audit your vulnerabilities. Where are you exposed? Where could the flood sweep you away? In business, that means stockpiling reserves, diversifying clients, cross-training the team. In life, it means sharpening skills, fortifying health, planning for loss, build buffers, build contingencies, build leverage before you need them. Calm is the illusion. The river always rises. Test it tomorrow. Instead of wasting time scrolling, identify 3 points of weakness in your career or life. Write one step to harden each, then execute. Because once the water comes, there is no time for building walls. Remember this: fortune is not fate. It is a battlefield. It crowns the prepared and buries the idle. And the mastery begins within. The discipline to see the flood before it roars. The foresight to act in calm, not in panic. The will to prepare while others sleep. Master yourself, and you no longer drown in fortune. You ride it. And when you ride it, the world itself bends to your current.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.